Hello, and welcome back to our third episode of The Rate We Hike. My name's Mike Shanley, financial advisor with Walnut Peak Financial Consulting. Today we'll be discussing IRAs, or individual retirement arrangements, not accounts. For a long time, back in the day, I had that confused too. So these are going to be tax-deferred investments. They assist in financial security for retirement. So there are a lot of types of them. They're super flexible, and more importantly, they're your friend. So why do we like tax-deferred investments? Let's jump into that first. To illustrate that quickly, if you look at what we have here, you're looking at a 6% return on your money. Now, the green bars represent non-tax deferred growth. The blue bar is tax deferred growth. So as you can see, it makes a difference, certainly almost right away, but obviously over a significant amount of time, it makes a dramatic difference. Let's jump into the types of accounts that we have. Obviously, there's a lot right off the bat. I'll touch on all of them, but more importantly, I want to focus on just a couple. The numbers that you see as far as contribution limits are for 2023. They were just updated. I thought it might be helpful as far as planning for next year. Traditional and Roth IRAs have the same limits. So for next year, it's going to be $6,500. The catch-up limit is $7,500. By catch-up contributions, we are talking about just that. For those 50 and above, you can contribute an extra $1,000. Now that catch-up contribution just means perhaps people got a late start on saving, perhaps they didn't save enough, and for the next, say 12, 13, 14, 15 years, they get to contribute an extra $1,000 to try to make up for the lack of savings that they had over the first, say 10, 12, 13, 15 years, whatever the case may be. So they can contribute $7,500. I do want to clarify that you cannot contribute $6,500 to a traditional and $6,500 to a Roth IRA. It is the limit for contributing to an IRA. When you move on to the SEP IRA, this is more of an employer contribution type of plan. You can contribute more, so you can contribute the lesser of 25% of the employee's salary, or you can contribute up to $66,000. I typically see these with nonprofit plans where the employee will contribute to the 403B, the employer will contribute to the SEP IRA. You have a simple plan that's a smaller company type of plan where the employer can contribute, as the graph will show or the chart, up to about 3% to match. Spousal IRA, you'll see that when maybe one spouse works part-time, doesn't make a lot of money, or spouse doesn't work at all, they have joint tax filing, and the other spouse who probably does pretty well or makes a good amount of money and contributes to the non-working spouse's IRA. You'll also then have non-deductible. That's basically when you make too much money or you've already contributed too much to an IRA. You can continue to contribute because the earnings will continue to grow tax deferred. And then an inherited IRA, you are the beneficiary in somebody else's IRA and they leave that to you. So the difference is between a Roth and a traditional. So again, a Roth, you're taxed already on your money, and then that money goes into the IRA and that money grows tax deferred. A traditional IRA, before it's taxed, goes into account, all that grows tax deferred. When you take your money out, the withdrawal phase after 59 and a half, on a Roth account, all of that money comes out, no taxes. On a traditional, when you withdraw after 59 and a half, all of that money gets taxed. So those are the two main differences. There's a little more flexibility with a Roth in terms of what you can do. You can take your contributions out of the account because those have already been taxed. Of course, with a traditional, you cannot. Additionally, required minimum distributions, which is something we could talk about another time. You do not have to take those out of a Roth. The most important thing is that Roth is getting a lot of attention. It's pushed in a lot of conversations, and it really does require more examination of everything that's going on in your financial life. It's more of a tax conversation. And so those things should be taken into consideration. With all else being equal, you should have both tax types if you have the ability to contribute to both. This is 401k versus an IRA. The only reason I bring this up is because more frequently, people are moving jobs on a consistent basis and they're leaving their 401ks behind. And what it's leading to is multiple 401ks in different locations. The explanation for this is that most people, I think, believe their 401k is nearly free. And so they believe if they leave it there, the money grows, they'll come back and scoop it up later. Ultimately, there are fees associated with 401ks. The other thing is that they believe that ERISA plans are more protected. And that certainly is the case. And there are other things to consider when considering your 401ks. However, 401k plans can be rolled into IRAs. There's more investment options typically, and there's more flexibility with what you can do. And if you roll an IRA over to something that a financial advisor covers, most likely you're receiving better advice. And the consolidation effort makes it easier to plan for you. I want to give you an example of what fees can look like inside of a 401k. They can be more expensive than what I'm showing you. They can be less expensive. It is important to show you they can be less expensive. This particular example shows 1.4%. This is provided by a third party. They most likely also got a percentage off of this as well. But a 1.4% expense on top of the investments inside of the 401k plan is very similar to what you would pay to a financial advisor, and you're most likely not getting the advice that you would receive from an advisor. And even if this plan was cheaper, there is a good reason that you could make an explanation as to why you should roll this over into an IRA simply for the investment options. And speaking of rollovers, they are flexible and they're friendly, as I mentioned. And so as you can see here, here's a bunch of options of what you can do with rollovers. As I mentioned, if you have 401ks from many different employers, all of those can be rolled over into one account. I mentioned with nonprofits that I have people that have the 403b that they contribute to and the SEP that the employer contributes to, and those can be rolled over into an IRA as well. If you have a simple or an IRA, those can be combined. Multiple IRAs can be combined. And so by doing this, what you're doing is giving yourself a lot of options at the account level. From there, what you can do with that account becomes something else altogether. And we can discuss those in other videos. So with that, for more information on how you can get started, please reach out with questions. Be sure to click the subscribe button, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on the most relevant information I'm putting out for you. For more information on Walnut Peak Financial Consulting or to follow other social medias, please click on the links in the description below. We'll see you soon.